My name is Nikhil Suri. I lead product at the Wormhole Foundation. For those of you who don't know, Wormhole is one of the leading interoperability protocols. We power multi-chain applications at scale, and we connect a lot of different VMs, EVMs, Solana, Cosmos, move chains, even more esoteric VMs such as Near and Algorand. Wormhole has been around for about 4 years. And is continuing to grow. So one of the leading interoperability protocols out there today. So I'm here today to talk to you about MultiGov. Slides are there, I guess. And MultiGov is something that Wormhole contributors are building in partnership with a couple of the leading governance teams in the space, Tally and Scopelift. MultiGov is the industry's first multi-chain governance system that'll be live on EVMs and Solana. So we're really excited to be launching MultiGov. MultiGov will first be adopted by the Wormhole DAO when it launches, and it'll also then be available to any other DAOs to be able to use to expand from being on a single chain to being on multiple chains. So that's another thing we're really excited about. So to give some background, I want to talk a little bit about the origins of MultiGov. Why are we building MultiGov? How has the space evolved over time? So MultiGov all starts with Wormhole. Wormhole, as you know, as I just went over, is an interoperability protocol. It originally started as an Ethereum to Solana bridge in 2020, connecting two of what are still some of the most important ecosystems in the crypto space today. And since Wormhole's initial launch in 2020, interoperability has grown tremendously. So this screenshot here is from Wormhole Scan. It's an explorer that Wormhole contributors have built where you can view all the messages passed through Wormhole over time, the total transaction volume, different protocols that are built on top of Wormhole. You can just see how much volume that Wormhole processes. Over 1 billion messages passed all time, $47 billion in value processed total over all time. And interoperability fundamentally helps projects scale. So by using Wormhole, you can seamlessly access the entire crypto ecosystem no matter what chain you're building on. As a result, almost every project today has going multi-chain as part of their strategy from day one. And going multi-chain can mean a couple of different things. It can mean sending arbitrary data cross-chain. It could mean sending tokens cross-chain. There are lots of different integrations that teams have built. But many of the integrations that we see and that we help teams with follow a pretty similar format. So the first step for teams when they go multi-chain is typically distributing their token to other chains. So the distribution of multi-chain tokens was originally, that itself has evolved over time. Originally, it was handled primarily by wrapped asset bridges. So for example, the Wormhole token bridge produced what are known as Wormhole wrapped assets on destination chains. So some of you might know, think of Wormhole wrapped Ethereum on Solana, or Wormhole wrapped Sol on Ethereum, or Wormhole wrapped for any other kind of token that you bridge. And that was kind of an original solution that is now being superseded by newer token transfer frameworks, such as Wormhole native token transfers, which is a framework that allows you to maintain full control of your token on different chains and full control over the entire deployment, so the entire security stack of your multi-chain token deployment. And all kinds of tokens get distributed multi-chain. Teams like to distribute stablecoins, governance tokens, LSTs and LRTs, RWAs, meme coins, all tokens get sent multi-chain. And expanding multi-chain for tokens is really valuable for teams. They can access a lot more users, they can access a lot more sources of liquidity, they can generally grow their project. But then the second step in the multi-chain expansion process that we see teams take is the growth of multi-chain protocols. And so expanding your protocol itself to operate across multiple different chains. So you can think of the first step is you have your protocol existing on a single chain and you've expanded your token to be on multiple chains. Now the second step is you expand your protocol itself. And there are a wide spectrum of possibilities here. So, for example, a simple a simple kind of integration could be a hub and spoke model. And a hub and spoke model is where your core logic for your protocol lives on a single hub chain, and then smaller pieces of logic live on spoke chains, which users interact with, and users trigger interactions with the hub chain logic from those spoke chains. That's a simpler kind of integration for a multi-chain protocol. A more advanced expansion might be porting the entire logic of your protocol to other chains. So think of your entire protocol logic could live on Ethereum, then you can port your entire protocol logic to also live on Solana or Arbitrum or any other Solana L2 or any other kind of chain that you want to expand to. And so projects figure out what kind of expansion makes the most sense for them, but it's generally within that realm of, within that spectrum. Now, with expanding your token, after expanding your token cross-chain and after expanding your protocol multi-chain, a lot of teams are at this stage where they're now thinking, how can we, we've expanded multi-chain, now we're seeing our user base on multiple different chains, and they've started to ask about a third expansion step, which is governance. And this makes a lot of logical sense, because if your token is on multiple chains, if your protocol, if users can interact with your protocol from whatever chain that they are on, you've expanded your user base from just existing on a single chain to existing on multiple chains. And ensuring that user base can participate in governance starts to become really, really important, because governance is going to dictate the future direction of your protocol. It's really important that all of your users, no matter what chain they're on, have a say in that. So this is where MultiGov comes in. MultiGov enables token holders to create, vote on, and execute governance proposals on any supported chain that it's deployed on. Effectively, MultiGov enables you to expand your DAO to multiple chains, so you can have a truly multi-chain protocol that all of your users, no matter what chain they're on, can fully participate in. And MultiGov is meant to help address the needs of DAOs in a multi-chain world. And so MultiGov keeps DAO governance active, accessible, decentralized, and flexible. Governance stays active because community members can participate from any chain that they're on. It lowers the barrier for participation. Governance stays accessible because the gas cost to vote is lower. You don't need to move your tokens around from one chain to another chain in order to vote, which typically has higher gas costs. You don't need to plan in advance to move your tokens from one chain to another chain to make sure that you can move in time to hit a snapshot. Your tokens are automatically included in the snapshot for governance proposals, no matter what chain they're on, and all you need to do is submit a simple transaction, which is a very low gas cost to vote on whatever chain you're already holding your tokens on. So governance becomes a lot more accessible. Governance stays decentralized because you've opened up more of your user base to just participate in governance. And then if you want to expand to a new network, you can easily deploy MultiGov to that new network, and you can begin to support your user base on that network. So governance stays flexible as well. I don't want to get too technical here, but I do want to talk a little bit about how MultiGov actually works. At a high level, MultiGov is a hub and spoke architecture. What that means is the core governance logic will live on a hub chain, and all the other chains in the deployment are spoke chains. And when users vote on the hub chain, their vote is directly recorded on the hub chain. When users vote on spoke chains, those votes are batched up and aggregated on the spoke chains, and then those votes are sent periodically in batches from the spoke chains to the hub chain to be recorded on the hub chain. And those votes are sent cross-chain. All the cross-chain interactions happen using Wormhole messaging and Wormhole queries. On the proposal side, proposals are created on the hub chain, and each of the spoke chains in the deployment read the proposal metadata from the proposal that's been created on the hub chain. And if a proposal passes, then the proposal execution data is sent from the hub chain to all of the spoke chains in the deployment for automatic execution. So that's the hub and spoke architecture. Another really important piece is that MultiGov has been built on top of the OpenZeppelin governor system. So the OpenZeppelin governor system is a very well-audited, well-known, and generally familiar governance system that a lot of DAOs use today. And one of the cool things about this is that because MultiGov is built on top of the OpenZeppelin governance system, there's a very clean upgrade path for DAOs that already use the OpenZeppelin governor on a single chain to now expand their DAO to operate on multiple chains. So building on top of the OpenZeppelin governor system was a smart move for us to just get well-audited code. Majority of the logic is very well audited out of the box. And also it's very easy for DAOs, many of whom have adopted the OpenZeppelin governor already, it's very easy for them to upgrade to start using MultiGov in the future. And finally, MultiGov uses Wormhole messaging and Wormhole queries for all cross-chain interactions. Wormhole messaging allows you to send messages from one chain to another chain. Wormhole queries allows you to pull data from one chain to another chain. So if you're on Ethereum, you can query data on Solana. If you're on Solana, you can query data on Ethereum or among any other EVM chains. So this is just a high-level overview of how MultiGov works. There's a ton of technical detail under the hood. Would be very happy to dive into it if anyone is curious. So if you have questions or want to chat more, just find me afterwards. We also push the MultiGov docs live, so you can go to the MultiGov docs. I think they're on the next slide. Yeah, MultiGov docs are live, so you can take a picture or just go to that URL or just go to docswormhole.com and find the section. But if you want to read more about how MultiGov works under the hood, there's they cover everything from like a high-level overview to low-level architecture, even have some code examples and FAQs. But this is the more exciting stuff. So when would you actually be able to start using MultiGov? And who is going to be able to start using MultiGov? So MultiGov, the docs are of course there. The code is currently under audit and the repository is going to be open source soon. So stay tuned for that announcement from Wormhole contributors and Tally and Scopelift. In terms of who's going to be using MultiGov, the Wormhole DAO will be the first DAO using MultiGov at launch on EVM chains and Solana, which is something we're really excited about. And I personally think it's very cool how the Wormhole protocol basically dog foods all of its own products that Wormhole contributors built. So the Wormhole protocol itself is going to be using MultiGov, which is built by Wormhole contributors on Wormhole messaging. The Wormhole protocol itself uses Wormhole native token transfers, which is used for the W token. And so it's cool how we get to dog food our own products. And then more DAOs will be launching with MultiGov, following up from the Wormhole DAO's launch, which we're also very excited about to support more DAOs expanding multi-chain using MultiGov. So that's all I have. Thank you. Feel free to reach out. My Telegram and my Twitter handles are here. If you want to save them, take a picture, or just find me afterwards. And thank you so much for listening, and excited to be shipping these products. Thanks, everyone.